Hello and welcome, fellow survivors, to another TWDS video. Today we're going to be going over a town hall, specifically to Tru3 Savage. He is a new community Discord member, a part of the BrobbenTV community. Reached out to me yesterday, and we wanted to give him a little bit of pointers. He is new to the game. He is on. Did you say you were on 660, or is it 663?
662.
Oh, two.
662.
Okay. Two. Perfect. Okay. All right. So, where do you want to start here? I can go. We can go through this list here with your questions. I know you have spending events, winning events, research, building. You had some notes from our previous video in which you learned.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start?
Well, first, I'd just like to start. We're in season 1, so we're still at the beginning. 662 is just a fresh server. If we go and look, our chronicles. So we're kind of at the end. So end of season 1, and my power looks like it's high.
What are you at?
So the first thing
Okay, yeah.
Yes. For our server, it's pretty high. But what happened is I can just give you a little snippet. There is a actual event that is going on right now, and if you look at it, this is how I got most of my items. So whenever I got lucky with the rolls, not right here, I didn't. But what happened is I rolled, and I did like one of the 10 times. It was during the second year milestone event where they give you they gave you extra rolls. So you got the 20 plus the extra rolls from that whenever they said thank you for playing for 2 years or thank you for the anniversary, and they gave you extra. Well, what happened was I clicked the 10 rolls, rolled it, and I got the double rewards. And I got where it's like for the next 5 minutes you get double rewards. Well, I hit it 4 or 5 times in a row. I don't even remember.
No way. That's wild.
Yes. And so for 2 minutes, I was getting tripped like times. It was like 8. So like whenever I would land on an item, so like it says okay, you get +1 sword. I was getting plus 64 every time I landed.
Wait, no way.
Yes. So what I did was, so that's why I'm pretty inflated. I didn't spend a bunch of money till after that happened, and I realized that I really got. Hold up, let me go. I really got blessed up. So if we go and look here at my depot, I had a bunch, and this is not like, and that's all equipped it. I have so much that I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that I couldn't use, that I just was able to upgrade all the way.
Yo, you hit the lottery in supply. You hit the lottery supply depot.
And supply.
Oh, supply rush.
So yeah. I literally spent about $50 to another additional, like $150 for extra rolls once I realized that. And so for 2 minutes, I was just clicking and just doing the cancel animation 10 times roll and just getting as much as I could get. And I still have all that extra water, that 29.
Oh my gosh, brother. Look at that. That's a season 1 300 mil water. So that's looking good.
Yeah. I used to have more on the rest of them, but I still have 124 mil.
Yeah.
64, like a lot of it, like 61 mil. That's all still coming from that and using that to boost. So the reason why just to let people know, the reason why it is so high is if you look, combat is at 8, whatever. But that's because if you look, I have some pretty good equipment. But development, that is what's got me so inflated. It's because it's 15 or about 16 million in just those members because of that equipment, and because you get like 2 of them in a row, you're getting 2.5, and you get the 4-piece set, you get those extra buffs. So I just wanted to show that, just to kind of give us a place to launch off of, and just to explain why I'm kind of not really inflated, but more or less inflated because of how lucky I got with with those rolls. I had people message me, thought I was cheating, and I'm like, no, fam, I got really lucky. And I decided to spend money on rolls for the first time because I was like, people were telling me, man, that's, it's hard to get equipment. And so once I saw plus 64, I said, bet.
You took the opportunity and you crushed it, man. That's awesome. I have never seen anything like that before, ever. So you effectively had a what 32 times bonus reward roll, something like.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
correct. And then if you added on top of it, it was multiplicative. So whenever I realized what it was doing, when you go here, I would use these right here, the trick
Mm-hmm.
die, to go
Mm-hmm.
exactly on what I wanted to go on, and then I would add additional rewards of them.
Yeah, yeah,
So
dude.
then I would get
You were
64
probably
times
just like
2.
going crazy because
So
you had to
it
do that
was,
all in like five
bro.
minutes. You were like, "Oh shit, I gotta buy all these. I
Yes,
gotta buy all these
when I
tickets."
realized, well, I didn't start until it was like 2 minutes in, because like I rolled it and rolled it and rolled it. And I was getting annoyed because it kept hitting the double rewards, so I wasn't getting anything, right? It was like 5 of them in a row, so like for 10, I wasn't getting any rewards because like I just hit the double rewards. Well, once I realized that I'm at the driving range hitting golf balls, I'm just having fun. And I was like, "Oh no, I gotta spend some money, boys." So I went off to the
Yes,
side, and
stand by.
I literally had about 2.5 minutes. If I would have realized, I'd have probably dropped about $300-400 if I'd have realized how
Oh yeah,
much I was getting.
yeah,
But I didn't realize how effective that was.
yeah. That's
Um,
wild.
so I can start off by showing you the purchases I have. So I have effectively, I always have the inventor pass, because I feel like I will just be 50% faster than everybody because I have two labs. So while one's training, another one's training at the same time. I have the traveler's contractor, just because I've watched your video and you talked about how important like getting to Elite 10 was because of that extra builder and how efficient and effective an extra builder is. So I purchased that. I also watch your video and buy the 7-day Ruby supply every week, uh, just because the biggest bang for your buck. If you look at the top right, I have 134K. I'm saving that 100 because I remember you said something about the dogs. We want to make sure that we have like a 75 to 100K to be effective. So other than that, I really didn't do anything. But because I have a good bit of items, um, if I'm gonna go purchase some of that right there. You look at the sunglasses. All I'm kind of really waiting on is those supplies. I have enough for 2 of these, and whenever I buy 2 of these, I'll have 2 complete sets of legendary gear.
Yeah,
Uh,
and that
and
is
so that's kind
those
of what
are
I've been
hard to
spending
get.
on
Those
Anvil.
100 fragments per item get difficult to get, which is why it was so nice for you to get that so early. I don't think you realize
I
how
know.
far ahead you are now. Like your development is going to be insane. Your combat heroes are insane. Like
Yeah,
I'm excited for you, man. You got a
like
sweet account right now at this point in the game.
yeah, you told me about the when you mentioned about switching the gear over for certain things. What I did was I put the builders and I put the training survivors, and I made sure, like, if you look, my builder fully kitted. I went, where's my next builder? Fully kitted,
Oh
just to
my.
get the biggest, time reduction.
Yeah, you're going to
And
get
then I
huge.
went same thing with because I'm doing melee,
Mhm.
which I was doing the free to play version. And so, like, if you look, I was doing that. And so, if we go look at my research, um, I have 100% development, 61% on basic combat. I have melee at 48%. The first queue is 100. The second queue is at 82. The third queue is at 35. And then the
That's
last one, I just
wild.
made sure I got the 2 time. So, yeah,
Are you
I've
going
been
tier
doing that.
10
So,
melee as well? Have you decided?
yes, uh, that I was going free to play. So, to
Mm.
let the path stay on it. So,
Oh my
currently, I'm
gosh, dude. This is
staying on
crazy.
it.
Yeah, you stay on it. Don't ever deviate from that, man. I made that
No, that's what you
mistake. Yeah,
said.
don't do that. So one of the things
Just
that I noticed with your
it's a waste of
research,
supplies. Too late.
yeah, for sure. This Erlenmeyer flask are gonna
Yeah.
be so hard to get, and anytime you deviate from your original plan, you're going to kill yourself. You're gonna take so much time out and wind out of your sails. So I did notice you have March Q1 maxed out. I do something a little bit differently. I think I max out at 79 or 82%. When you're going down into
Okay.
your F3, so if you go down to your March Q3 and 4, something that's gonna be really important for you to save a lot of bullets so you can get those T10s faster and such is make sure you go down just the left side of this tree here. I see you've already kind of invested in sharpshooter defense and cavalry defense. like on that, if you just
Yes.
scroll up a little bit, it's 6 out of 10 and 5 out of 10. That's okay, but
Yeah.
start going melee. Just go 6 out of 10 melee defense, scroll down, and then you'll have to max out the bottom layer tier as well. So
Yes.
let's see.
Okay.
Keep going, all the way to the bottom of that list. Okay, so this is where you'll get it. You'll get that melee attack up as high as you can, and then it's an order of priorities because you're trying to get the most out of that research tree. So you think of it as like you're focusing just on the left-hand side. Now you're going to be required to get sharpshooter attack and cavalry attack to get fighter endurance up, but until you get the melee attack boosted up to the maximum point where it requires you more research, it is a better use of your resources, especially since the March Q3 and the March Q4 get really expensive, and those bolts are extremely valuable. Now, it's going to be a balancing act, but that's just a quick little tip there, because I didn't go 100%. My March Q1 is 100% in my mind, but I do not have 100% research on my March Q1, and I won't until I actually use those points as a luxury for like Strong Survivor and competition. It's kind of like this thing where you keep things purposely low for like a rainy day to achieve some more points. Because the way that you think about buildings and research is you only get one time. It's not like you can revert back to level 20 or, you know, like you can revert back to melee attack 0 out of 10. You're only going to get that one upgrade, one opportunity to actually benefit from that. So I always encourage to like compete if you are competing in the Stronger Survivor, but as a free to play player, you really want to stay away from Stronger Survivor. You just want to get the chests unlocked. So if you can continue to get those chests unlocked, and that kind of varies for people. You mean, based on your luck and some of the things I've seen here, you mean, you might be even to the point where, you know, you could probably unlock all the chests. But if it means that the next Stronger Survivor, you can't unlock the first 3 chests or so, which is kind of rare. As long as you do your pre-gathers on like day 2 and day 4, there's quite a few things there to min-max Stronger Survivor, but I don't want to open up that can of worms right now. But in terms of your technology, do your best to focus on melee everything specific. Only do the minimum on things like sharpshooter and cavalry attack as a general rule of thumb.
To get to the next, okay.
Yeah.
Because we're focusing on channels.
Yeah, because you want to save those resources. That extra, like when you're 79% in that March Q3, you are technically 100% as a melee fighter, like troop, like selection, like, so you're good to go on that. And you can say that with your recruits as well. I don't know if you know much about recruits and how you've kind of built your recruits out in the bottom left hand corner, but this is kind of an important thing too.
Yes. I was going mostly to just get to the bottom first. So
so this is actually really nice. Let's see, the way to min-max this kind of is there are things like right now you're not going to benefit from that sharpshooter attack or any of that cavalry stuff. So technically you could reset and go further down that and get 6 out of 10 fighter attack, 6 out of 10 fighter defense, and 6 out of 10 fighter health before you go for the March troop capacity, because it's a nominal fee. It's like 500 gems to do the reset. So you kind of do that focus but balance.
So to answer my question, so whenever I click something like this, it tells me requires the following talents first. It doesn't require all 3, just one of them to be level 6.
No. So it does require all of those, but what I'm talking about is there's this special time because you're trying to be as competitive as possible in duels and relative in the moment. So if you were to reset this and then go down the line just like you have, unlocking everything from 3, but when you get to the very end and you use all those additional points that you've thrown into like the sharpshooter and cavalry on that right hand side, you could put that all in fighter, defense, attack, and health, and those are solid stats.
Remove those 2, put them on fighter, defense.
Yeah, those 2, and then if you scroll up a little bit, right there, those ones right there. So back down. It's just right below the so it's right below the damage dealt bonus. So if you scroll down a little bit more, yeah, right there, and then see the sharpshooter attack 2 out of 10, cavalry attack. So this is like one of those things you can reset, go back down this tree exactly the same way you did because you want to unlock and get as far as possible. But these are those extra stats that you'll get because you can get that fighter attack 6 out of 10, fighter defense 6 out of 10, and then when you do some math, you can figure out what you actually need to unlock the March troop capacity, which is level 5 across the board on everything. So until you can do them, so it's just a quick thing right there. So it's 15 points per line. So it's going to require you 45 total points to break through and actually activate the March capacity. So what I recommend in the survivor or the recruits here to get that extra little percent and make your melee that much more beefier is to do that little focus. You kind of go back and forth between it, because when you first start this tree out, you could have just went knockout, top shape, dodge, preemptive, like you could have just went everything on the left hand side and slowly unlocked everything. That's just a small tip for recruits. It's good.
So that come over. So dodge, you said, is another one that I can.
Yeah, like those see, now you're at a unique place. You're at the 3 breakpoint into this whole thing. You want to unlock it exactly the way you have. It's just that last tier that you're on, because you're going to be on that tier for so long, since it's going to require you 45 total points, which is 22 levels or so.
I got you.
To actually get to the March capacity. Since you're not going to get to the March capacity anytime soon, you want to make your melee units as strong as possible. Always be thinking, focus on my melee. How do I make my melee just that much more stronger? And this is a way to do it with recruits.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. And then I do have some things.
Sorry,
Spending.
we're recording in the middle of an event. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead. Take your time. Do it. Let's see. I know you were talking about spending. You said, what should I spend money on with a limited budget? Are you still going to go free to play, or do you plan on doing some more like limited budgeting?
I'm going to be doing some limited budgeting.
Yeah, because what's really important is that what that number is, to be fair. Something that I've noticed that really helps is just kind of really making a real budget for yourself and understanding what you can allocate, and then not overextend yourself.
I think so $500 to $1,000 is what I was looking at.
Okay.
That's kind of like my budget range. I think I spend already about, like I said, it's like 40 on, because I also buy the pass as well. I feel like that's a big budget spend too. So I also buy the pass. So I have the pass as well, war pass, and then the other two. So that's, I think, about $100 right there if you look at that. And then on top of that, I have about 400 to about 600 depending on if I see like a really good buy. Like I almost thought about buying that milestone pass for 250, but again, it was a plus 3% to cavalry, and I was like, well, the big spend on that is to get that house, but I mean, it doesn't really benefit me.
Yeah, in that,
since I'm going melee,
like it would at some point, but I think that there's other things that you could spend that money on right now that would benefit you better. Because I always think that when you're spending, you look at your competition relative to you and realize where you want to be. And if you start to fall out of that gap, so if you were to just say the top 10 players, for example, inspect them, look at their combat survivors, go over their technology, see where they're at, and you can kind of gauge how much they've spent and where they are, and then you kind of look at yourself and you're like, well, what do I need to get there? Is it possible for me to get there within my budget? And either that's yes or a no, right? But with 500 to 1,000, if you use, we can talk about Huawei and such in the future. It is one of my sponsors, and it's quite easy. It's legit. You get tons of money savings. I love it.
Did y'all figure out a way to do it with Apple on the app? I know you said it was only for Android, so I watched the video a couple times. Or would you?
Yeah, so we do have a workaround.
Is there a way to connect this account to the?
100%. Okay. I'll walk you through it. We'll do that. We'll do like a one-on-one, and we'll get that going.
Okay.
So we'll worry about that in a bit.
Would that be with an emulator or whatever?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I can. I mean, we can knock that out, and it'll take like 10 minutes, really. Let's see. So you said spending a limited budget, 500 to 1,000. So one of the things that so there's two kind of schools of thoughts. Like what Elise said in the Discord community chat was actually kind of a point. Like some people do save for Ezekiel and just go for Ezekiel, but the thing about Ezekiel is, even with 500 to 1,000, if you saved for a year, etc., blah, like it's still going to require so much to make Ezekiel good. Like my hometown heroes can beat like 70 Ezekiels because of the way that I've built my team. Now that won't be like that forever once they get fully developed, but they have to invest. You have to invest so much just to get him off the ground. That doesn't include your equipment. It doesn't include your vehicles. It doesn't include any of that technology. So you have to be very careful with that. But I would say you have the perfect budget to release a Magnus crew, which I would say is the second strongest chemistry in the game, second to Ezekiel. Now, that would be probably what I would do. So I would go into like your weekly packs, you know, like where you have those 4K rubies per day, 32K per
Hmm.
week. There is going to be a universal legendary fragment pack in there. That is going to help you if you decide to go Magnus Crew, get those survivors quite quickly. Now, it doesn't look like you had
So
the,
which one were you saying?
yeah, so just scroll right there, weekly card. And it's gonna be at the bottom, second to the bottom, I believe. Third to the bottom. There it is. 7 times survivor fragment supply, the truckload.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, this is something that is going to cost a decent amount, but these fragments are invaluable because this is going to unlock a Magnus crew, which, like I said, it's the second strongest team, and it will still beat Ezekiel's, funny enough. So those guys that are spending like $14,000-$15,000, you're at like a fraction of that, like $2,000-$3,000 total invested, and that's not including all the other bells and whistles with that. But you're going to crush those teams. It's going to be funny because they don't realize how good Magnus Crew is. Ezekiel's the king. He's awesome. But there's a lot that goes into making Ezekiel good. It's not just Ezekiel. Magnus Crew is a lot more manageable for players like yourself and I. It's actually a
Well,
chemistry that I'm
the,
going for.
yeah. Well, the only question I have with that is I know that that budget works, but since I've went so far into melee, would it be viable for me to continue to do that, or would I want to go cavalry because I know that their buff is for cavalry?
That
So
is
would I need
true.
to
Very
switch?
good point. Thanks for reining me back in there. So, actually, if you're going melee and you're going to go melee, so you got to think about what your top teams are. You're going to have Love Triangle. You're going to have the
So that's what I was
Whispers.
thinking. Yeah.
You're going to
So the
have
whispers is, and then the
Family
only other one
Unity.
would have been this group here.
Mm-hmm.
It would be the other one that I should probably go for.
Yeah, because this is actually a unique situation. I haven't experienced a player that actually has a budget like yourself and is staying melee. So I'm trying to.
Well, I didn't realize. So I didn't realize that I was gonna
Yeah,
new player.
yeah.
And so the people that were talking to me on the game were like, save up. So I've been saving. I have about 514, call-ins, and I was saving it for season 2 for Whispers.
Yeah,
To,
which is really
to go
good.
ahead and
Whispers is
unload.
a super strong team. Can't be underestimated. A maxed out Whispers team with all legendary gear, you're gonna whoop a lot of people, regardless what they are. So it's gonna be like, you get 5-star max everything. You get your technologies worked out. You're gonna have dogs that come into play, which is another way to outplay players. Combat speed is always gonna trump almost anything in the game. It determines like who attacks first in the battle log, but yeah, I'm going to have to go to the drawing board to give you a real answer on that. Family Unity might be something you have to consider getting, but it is one of the rarest, hardest chemistries to get.
I know.
It is.
I
So
know.
I've
So
actually never
knowing
seen
what
anybody with a working Family Unity. So I couldn't tell you,
let's go,
man.
boys.
I couldn't even tell you. We haven't even theory crafted it.
No, we might just have to. I might just have to switch over to cavalry. Forget melee. We might just do it.
No, I mean, if you're invested and you're gonna go 5 to 1K, then we can get Huawei going for you. You could see Magnus Crew realistically within 3-4 months, and even sooner. Like Magnus Crew is gonna be relevant for years to come for you. The one thing you will
that's
have to
the
consider,
thing. Melee won't be, then I'll fall off in about 6 months.
Not necessarily. I think that there is power in focus. So when you get into season 3, there's always going to be something that differentiates yourself from another player. Like these chemistries are nice and they're hyped up and they're really good. But as I said, I've beaten 70 Ezekiels with hometown heroes, and there's a lot of things you can do, and it's all gonna be on a timeline. Of course, they're gonna eventually take over, but there's things I can do in the future that they add to the game. So in season 3, you get something called statues, which are they're gonna have a melee statue, a sharpshooter statue, and a cavalry statue. This is another Erlenmeyer sync, if you will, where you'll have to invest a large amount of resources that are very hard to obtain, that even people that spend money will not have the ability to do. And if they go through and they spread themselves thinly, this will be another advantage for you as melee and will separate you. of course, with the dogs as well in season 2, you can make a budget dog, make a full blue eco-friendly dog, and then go with combat speed for a legendary skill, and that'll be like this sick dog, and everyone will look at you like you're a madman, but you're gonna be whooping everybody. So it's
I want
fun.
long-term investment though. Long-term. I need to be wise.
Yeah, we got to be wise. That's true.
You gotta be wise.
Got to be wise. Oh well, I'm in this for 5 years, so you'll probably be playing with us, and our servers will eventually be merged. So be interested. Interesting. I'm gonna recommend Magnus Crew to you then.
Okay, so then I'll need to switch over.
Yeah, it's not like a huge loss or anything. So the ultimate end game, if you look at the way this game is played, it's a rock paper scissors.
Cavalry is the end game. Like, yeah, and Cavalry, if Ezekiel, because it works well with Ezekiel and Magnus are both Cavalry, and so if you push for Cavalry, well, I mean, look, I'm gonna have to get rid of my little statues here.
there is kind of a greater equalizer.
Look at that. You know, all my melee little
they're so nice. I know, man.
Cavalry,
Dude,
remove that sucker.
Yeah, I mean, I quit my main account to come play on this new S662. I didn't by quit. I mean, I kind of maintain it and I get on every once in a while. I still will play it, and I plan on using it as a second power eventually when we all like get merged at some point. But you know, I invested probably about 11K on that account, and it was hard to kind of leave that account. But I realized kind of my mistake because I do want to go for Magnus Crew. I do want to get an Ezekiel, and I decided that I wanted to stay here and set up some roots, you know, within a game and have a lot of fun with good people. The community in TWS is unique. It's awesome. The game has so many aspects to it. You know, having that mobile aspect, like you said earlier, you're on like, you know, you're on a golf course, just golf and playing a game, man. It's a blast. You know, you get to like see it as like this budget investment game. You get to have good fun. It's wars. It's, you know, your adrenaline gets pumping when you join in like a battleground or an arena, and it gets your brain going. So I really do enjoy TWS for that reason, for those reasons. But let's go ahead and recommend Magnus Crew then, if you're really thinking wise and going through those things. And back to my original point, I suppose the end-to-end game would probably be all 3 troop types, actually, because when you get, we haven't been able to test it in like a sandbox or like to have all the theories, but I believe my personal theory is that the end game will be a mix of all 3 units, but you'll have to actively counter and scout what they're using and running at you in that second. So it's like
and then switch out. Yeah, and then rock paper scissors.
Yep. But that's far away for most of us. I think there's only very few people, like maybe CC and Lord and Voldemort, which are 2 huge players that are infamous on some of the veteran servers. Yeah. But I'm coming for them, so I hope they know.
He said, "I'll see you in 3 years."
Yeah.
I'm coming.
Yeah,
I'm coming.
The one equalizer with the Ezekiel's, I do believe so. Sharpshooters have the highest base attribute attack stat in the game, and there's something to be said about that at the top end. So cavalry will be great, but you know those differentiators are going to be like that town hall skin that came out. You know, that 250 USD cavalry skin, 3% attack.
Yeah, now I should have bought it if I was
yeah, that's the way I felt. I came to the same conclusion. I don't want to talk about it because I don't know if it's ever going to come back. And it's like sometimes those things are like legacy. They have things in the game that are from like Game of Survival, right? And that was that was their alpha before they became the Walking Dead survivors. And people have like special survivors from that time, so they respect like that legacy.
That's how you I got you. So that's how you get the VIP. VIP came from that system, huh?
Well, no, actually, you actually could be getting a VIP invite here sooner than later. With your budget of 500 to 1K, you'll definitely make the club here at some point. Right now, we've been trying to collaborate with a lot of people, figure out what the feedback is. It's anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5K USD to get part of the VIP club, which it is nice.
I got you.
The rewards are nice, and you'll eventually just get hand invited if you are if you qualify for it.
I got you. Yeah,
you'll get an in-game message. It's pretty cool, and I believe you will get there. So stay grinding. Let's go ahead and just go through some of these things. Should I only go for the first 3 chests? Optimize winning events, using money to get more rewards.
Yeah. I'm talking about whenever we go for survival challenge, like for instance, I normally like to at least get the first 3 chests. The first golden chest, I really don't value this. I mean, it says it's worth a lot, but I'm not going to be using that unit, that type. So I really don't see the value in really pushing to be the top one. So like for this, I got that amount of time and grabs. So if I go here, junkyard, I got a free grab there, and then I got 67 keys. I'll normally hit it like once or twice because I do spend, but
Hmm.
I normally like to get just that because it gives me those. I need those, and so I've been watching your video on how to get those, and so I feel like that's a consistent way of getting that, and also leveling up my recruit.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. If you're a very patient and like strategic player, just getting those base gold chests is really important. And you might not see any benefits from Pamela for a while, although the tyrants are really strong. Like I probably will use a Negan governor and Pamela at some point, even with cavalry, just because of what they are and what they represent. They're really strong. They're like the number 3 team. So regardless of getting the chemistry bonuses from it and such, those teams are still strong and viable at varying points in the season. But the question is it worth to get Pamela each time? I would say no, but there's got to be a reason that you would go for it. Like, do you want to get top 5 in survival challenge that day? Like for the extra speed ups and gems, or it's like a quick snipe, I it's a tough one. It's similar to like Strongest Survivor, where you think of Strongest Survivor as like this massive resource um like scrounge. It just sucks all your resources into a vortex, and like every time you go over cap in Stronger Survivor, you're effectively taking away gold chests in the future if you can't afford to maintain that sort of spending, if that makes
Yes.
sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
That
the
does make
general
sense.
rule of thumb, I would always silver chest everything, especially when you get into season 2. There's going to be something called commendation activity medals that come out, which is super competitive. From the very first day, each chest will give you a certain amount of commendation for the season, and they give amazing rewards. Some of those legendary fragments, I believe, that we were looking at are given in those seasonal rewards, and they give some cool titles and such. So like as it promotes like maximum activity. Everything you do in the game gives you commendation. Attacking a walker, there's a million things that give those commendations, but one of the ones that's really important is up to bronze and silver chest. Gold chest doesn't give you any commendation, I believe, unless they've changed it in season 7. But in season 2,
Mhm.
you're not going to get any commendation medals from gold, I believe. So if you're running out of time, I would recommend just going bronze and silver all the way through just to get that activity up. Once you see those rewards, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I don't have all the information right in front of me right now, but it's a pretty cool system.
Mhm.
So stay away from Pamela, I guess. If and this will kind of change. I mean, if you have the opportunity to like get it easily and you
Yeah,
can
well, the thing
maintain
is,
spending, then
I'm already kind of invested. I mean, I have him
you're
max store. I'll have him max store. It's only 10,
yeah, I mean,
or no,
that's
another
wild.
100.
Your Pamela is
And
going to be
then,
strong, by the way. That a 2-star Pamela level 70 at season 1, season 2,
oh,
regardless
really?
of the chemistry, she's just going to be very effective relatively to your competition. So it wouldn't make a bad F3 or F4 as you're building out your chemistries and waiting for Magna and all these other things that are kind of coming into play. So you have to kind of start formulating a thought for like what's going to be your F1, 2, 3, and 4.
So, how does Magna and Connie unlock? Is it whenever I buy that pack, or will they eventually come out once I buy this one?
No, so there was an opportunity when the server first launched. I'm sure you saw to buy Magna and Connie. Those were limited time things. That was actually something very new and special that I had seen. They will become available, so don't worry. But you can start preparing your Yumiko for that time if you
I
wanted
got you.
to. Yumiko is going to be really strong regardless. Not having the
Yeah, I
chemistry
got.
bonus will kind of suck, but
Yeah, I bought Glenn and her at the beginning just because I was like, ooh,
yeah.
purchase a pack.
And so it is nice to get all the survivors if you can. You don't necessarily have to level every survivor that you
Mhm.
get because they give you a global buff. Each star is a global buff applied to all formations and combat
Oh,
survivors across
really?
the board. Yes. So it's like a
So,
collector's game in a part of that as well. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, most definitely. So, storing them up is a pretty good thing to do.
Yes, it's very good to do. I pretty much only do it on Strongest Survivor day 5
That's
powering
what
up.
I did. Yep, that's what I did last time. I was waiting. I had to. endure some
Yeah,
weak
it's hard, but
F1 for a while because
you're so gonna be so big, dude. Like, I don't think you realize the potential this account has with that supply rush. You're gonna be massive. And the most important thing, the one thing that I said, you got to keep playing though. You got to be consistent. Like, participate in the clan activities. Like
oh yeah,
do the
35
minute.
consecutive days logged in.
Yeah, buddy, look at that, looking good.
Oh yeah.
All right, and I just want to kind of, I hate to say the word skim, but I would like to kind of just read through some of this list that you have, just so we can kind of start
Yeah.
knocking out some of your questions. Um,
Mhm.
let's see, optimize winning events.
So that was the survivor, the strongest survivor, and so we talked about that, and also we talked about the chest. I was wondering, should I be pushing? So you answered it already. Save up things and use it doubly. So what I mean by that is you were pretty much saying when you want to upgrade something, uh, get the most biggest bang for your buck in a sense. So save it for an event. So for instance, I would say spending my jewels for an event like this. I normally would save them because I'd want to get for Ruby Rush,
Right,
right? If you
right.
spend it all, then this would be the best. And so I always pretty much get the last one. I always get that one because I pretty much spend that many jewels,
Hmm.
rubies. So stuff like that. So we've already talked about that.
Then we
What's
have
next on the list?
building progress with 7 builders. Should I be upgrading contracting buildings, researcher building, and decorations?
Yes. So these two buildings here, should I continue to keep upgrading these because they do give overall buff? This increases the production. Every time you upgrade it, you only
Look,
get a
just
half a
take a quick
percent.
look at the power that when you had that thing up. Go back to that. And then now scroll
Hmm.
down. You see the power jump from that? That's
Hmm.
going to be like a sweet building that if you do continue to use the traveling contractor, which is really nice. I mean, it's hard to argue with the benefits of it, as if you're min maxing everything and you're doing like 7 builds a day, 8, 9 builds a day when you get more builders, like that's going to be super valuable. The reduction of resources, you're not going to be starved for resources much longer, but in season 1, they are quite costly. I think around, like I explained this with Noah. We were talking about how season 1's kind of like the famine, and with all your development gear, you've actually surprisingly avoided the famine. Like, you have 120 million meat, which is awesome. And I would continue to do the Horizon windmill as long as you can continue to afford to
Yeah.
do so.
Oh, I can. My question was because something like that is like 5 days, 6 days, 10 days.
Oh, it'll
Same
go up
thing
to
with
45 days at some point,
I
but
know, I know. So it does tie up your builders. So I know that it's important to continue to keep pushing this. So right now,
yeah,
my fire station is going up 4 days. I'll be able to upgrade this because if we look, if I supplement all that, I have it all, so I can go up to 21 as well. Um,
mhm.
as soon as that's done, but I'm waiting for the right moment to speed that up. I don't want to just speed it up and complete it, but
Yeah,
so I have that path, like you said, save a couple builders to keep pushing up the town hall.
yeah.
And this is the other one. Like, how important is this one to keep upgrading? Because that locks down 3 builders for longer periods of time,
Yeah, and
which
I would say there's
it's okay.
probably a diminishing returns. Like, being level 18 on those buildings is good. You could save those for stronger survivor or gold chest events in the future when things become a little bit more plentiful and abundant.
Yeah,
But you're already getting kind of some of the major pieces of those bonuses by having them at that level, and they're going to start taking a
yeah,
lot
so like
longer.
18.5. Yeah.
Yeah, in those
So
days of construction,
18.5 versus 22. The
you're going to be in trouble here soon if you don't start getting those hospitals up. So the hospitals, those are all going to need to go like to 20. So when you finish that windmill and you finish that research lab, like, I personally wouldn't feel comfortable being at that raw amount of troops, 44,000, with only 15,000 in my hospital. Because what you need to do is be able to fight and brawl with these whales, people that can spend more than us. The only way for us to beat them is to be unbeatable, to be unplunderable. They can hit my
just
town
keep
as many
smacking them.
times as possible, but guess what? I'm prepared for that, and you can't break through me because of my hospital capacity. Now, it's okay if you're
So
quick
would
and you're
you
fast.
recommend? Would you? So if that's the case, would you recommend I come here and get that
Oh
to
yeah,
15 as quick
yeah,
as possible?
yes, definitely. Especially when you're preparing for season 2, and it's going to be like you're at end of season 1. It should be kind of, I don't know. It should be more or less peaceful, but I don't know. You could have some civil
Yeah, we're
discourse.
peaceful. No.
Okay, so yeah, you guys are good to go now. But in season 2, it's going to be server versus server, and you need to be able to. You're going to go into these fights, and people are going to test you. They're going to slam your town hall as soon as you jump in. And the whales that are smart and the people that have experience, they're going to do that. And you're going to have to be able to jump into your hospitals and heal up very quickly, because until you can get your hospitals to around 25,000 at your current level of troops, I would also recommend burning the troops that you're not using either, because they just take up like slots. I stopped doing some of the
Yeah.
survivor camps actually in the exploration quest because I didn't want to get like 30 cavalry, 30 fighters, and 30 sharpshooters. I felt personally that
So
was adding to my hospitals unnecessarily.
so if I'm doing all melee right now, and I'm gonna be, I guess, switching over, like you said, going to Magna, um, I should get rid of all the other troops. How's the way to look at all the troops I have? Formation, maybe? So no, they're all out. Here we go. Let's see. So if we look, I have a lot of cavalry here that I'm not even using. Sharpshooters I'm not even using. I'm pretty much all here. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty much
Yeah.
using all fighter level
So
seven, but
I'll
I
tell
have
you,
a
I used
lot
to kind
of.
of do that too. I had the same mix of troops you're having, and I got
Mhm.
like I was always producing sharpshooters, always producing cavalry and melee. But I found that like as good as it was to get some of the bonuses, because you could save those and let them sit there, and then when like a training event would come by, you could pop instantly like a silver chest. But on our level, like from the perspective that I see that you're going and towards, I don't think it's worth it.
Mhm.
I don't think it's worth getting your sharpshooters in melee anymore. You would just start training cavalry and promoting them slowly. So
Okay.
I train tier 2s during the survival challenge, and then I
And then you
promote
promote. Yeah.
off the challenge. So for like, however many hours a day, I'm always trying to be efficient with that, and you have to be careful with
Yeah.
that. I think
So
you
so
understand that.
yeah. So I need to kind of burn some of those troops. Would you say,
Yeah, I would try
or
to
just
find a good
stop
friend of
training?
yours, that one of the top whales here that has more power than you, that you won't hurt when you attack. And because you won't really
Oh,
hurt them. If you attack them, they'll only receive wounded. You will receive losses, which is really good. You could
well,
also max out your hospital capacity, like go over cap, I guess. It's kind of hard to achieve because depending on
this
your
is the
split.
problem with this server. Um,
Oh, sheesh, look at you go.
uh, it's just not a.
All right,
I
well,
don't want to
how
reveal
about I
too much
make
about
you a
my
deal?
server. I can't show
Hopefully,
you no more. I can't show you.
hopefully you get
Can't
merged
show
into
you
my
more.
server.
No,
Or
we don't want. We don't want 666 right now. We're waiting for y'all for like
you
season
don't want
4.
these hands. No, 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 no,
No,
no.
we do not want them. Look at this. Look at this. Let's just all right. Let's just be honest for a moment. Can we be honest? Let's be honest. Let me show you something. Hold up, man. I'm so stressed right now. I can't even find the duels.
Oh my gosh.
Oh Lord, look at this. Y'all ready? Look at this. Look at this. Y'all ready? Everybody, check this out. 666, 666. Oh, here's a 660. He's cute. 666, 666, 666, 666, 666, 666, 666. Y'all heard it? 666. Oh, 660. Oh, he's cute.
This is
666, 666.
funny.
Oh, like, come on, somebody. I would. Oh, anyway. Oh,
Somebody's
whew,
somebody
stress me
sent
out.
660 some help, or 662 some help.
Bruh, somebody send me, please.
You
Lord
know,
have mercy.
it still wouldn't be all bad.
It's tough out here to be a budget spender. My goodness. Whew.
Oh my gosh, that is too good. Okay, let's get this
Anyway,
going. Yeah, we got this. Let me see. You got building progress. Okay, so we got building progress with 7 builders. Should be
yes,
upgrading contractors, decorations. What did you want to talk about in decorations?
because it's just about efficiency. That's 1, 2, 3 buildings that I would tie up that wouldn't necessarily push me forward, but would push like extra things forward. And if you start tying in, that's 4 or 5. It was just good to know that I need to optimize getting these to level 20, and I also need to get these houses leveled up. So that was really good. That's kind of what the thoughts was. Where to kind of put these extra ones. And right now, I think the bigger value is getting these hospitals pushed up. So it's giving me priority of what I should do. I remember you talked about season 2 or 3 you'd start getting statues that you'd want to start building up or stuff like that. And I was wondering, is this something you would wait more for in game because it's overall percent that helps out, which is good. But should I allocate
You
one
could,
builder for
yeah, you could allocate
this and
one
then
builder for
one
that, but since you got one builder on windmill, you got one builder on the research lab or
exactly?
did,
So
yeah,
I
you were
can
kind of
put
spreading
them all
yourself
in
thin.
one group. Yeah. So I can put that all in one group. I can always be making sure that I'm greeting one of those with one of my builders.
Yeah, because it's quite inexpensive to level those up. I've gone through like two varying schools of thoughts for that. You could do the save method and then just bust it up at some point when you have a ton of extra buildings. But they actually take so long to research and they're quite cheap to upgrade. So
Exactly.
dedicating one builder to it, I would say would be reasonable if you have a good statue that you want to go to max out. Yeah, sure, that would be wise. I believe that you would benefit from that.
Yeah, we just got to see if I'm staking to melee.
Yeah, we'll talk about that for sure. Okay. You got farming. I put all my farmers on army camps for bullets.
So yeah, so you see, I got 22. My biggest bottleneck was
oh yeah,
bullets because
you're maxed out. Yeah,
stuff.
294. That's exactly right around where I'm at right now.
Yeah. So what I did was I put all of my sites, my scavenger sites, is all bullets.
Yeah, that's wise. That's what I would do.
So
Sometimes it's tough. Like on my server, we fought so much. So like I'm really hurting on meat, but I've had to kind of bite the bullet, no pun intended, and keep it on bullets because you're going to need like to the tune of like 500 million bullets, I believe, to go to tier 10. And that's just a rough estimate. I know like barracks, like the last level technologies, it's like 240 million, like in cumulative, the last like 3 or 4 upgrades. When you get to 80%, I think, or 85% in your technology to go towards that secret tech unlock that unlocks T10, you're only halfway there in time and resources.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that's great.
Yeah.
So what that means is I'm kind of like on like 1/4 of the way or 1/3
yes,
of the way.
and so it's not terrible, by the way.
Which means it's not a terrible thing to jump over. Is what you're
it's
saying?
not a terrible thing to swap to cavalry training from where you're at. Like I wouldn't like. So you're not even halfway there. You're like 25% of the way there right now.
Yeah. So
So it's really not that bad.
It wouldn't be as big of. Okay, good.
Yeah. And not bad at all.
All I want.
All right. And then let's see. It was a bottleneck me. Sure, I put in different. Best way to spend stamina. Okay, best way to spend stamina of formations after double XP raid events.
So what I mean, like by double XP, like rescue Rick, 22 minutes gonna come up. Well, I normally save for that to make sure that because I'm the guy that does the 22 raids, level 22s.
Yep, you're the guy. So, you go-to getter.
So I save it. So for those, but after that, like let's say there's not that or the Eugene raid. What's the next best thing? Like, because is it good to be like, do I need to be higher than 13 star? Do I need to be pushing this up?
You don't really need to push it. Like, there's a settlement siege up right now. That's a great one to get. It's going to +1 star. You give you free development XP and a bunch of materials. The settlement siege, it's a green one. It looks like a little book. So that's going to be a really good one. I am very specific about these, and this is exactly where I go to after like a double XP event. I would go and I would complete settlement siege. I fish for bread and I take the precious metals. So when like the scavenge camps type stuff comes up and they give you the metals, any metals at all, I go for. Any stamina at all, I go for. Settlement siege, I go for. I know I'm missing one. I feel like, which is the last one? Maybe not. Maybe it's just those 3. But you slowly will get that up. And I wouldn't say it's a priority by any means, because right now your priority is helping your clan and getting as many 22 rallies out and pooling that stamina for each double XP event. Because your stamina should kind of be zeroed out after that event, right? As long as you have no impending wars or anything, you have to prepare for anything, you're kind of zeroed out. Nice Town Hall skin, by the way. Let's see.
Sorry, I'm just healing up. I'm gonna resend them back out.
Yeah, no worries, man. We're just chilling. It's kind of like a little podcast. You can talk and play as much as you want. Focusing melee for whispers. We've changed that.
So that was what we talked about. Yeah, so we're going to Calvary. I just gotta see what I'm going to be doing there.
Yeah, and I will. We can go over some specifics for that. I mean, like, just to start prepping right now is just get the truckload for the universal fragments. I promise you cannot go wrong or have enough of those in the video game. Like universal legendary fragments, the ones from that truckload, that weekly we talked about, at any point
Mhm.
that you buy that in the game, those will 100% be extremely valuable. Doesn't matter. You're investing in yourself. That is like the gold standard, if you will, in this into the Walking Dead survivors. So you could not have enough of those, and it will prepare you for your Magnus crew.
All right.
And then you said season 2 is dogs. Yes. Should I be upgrading my vehicles or saving resources for another vehicle later? RV
So
is what I recommend. Don't spend any resources in any vehicle. If you already have and you invested heavily into one, that's okay. You can always reset it later in the game. But everything goes into your RV, and all your token metal scraps go into the performance. No, I'm sad. It's not a big deal.
Driver.
It's only 10K. It's only 10K gems. It's not.
Okay.
It's a drop in the pond for you, realistically. But you would go, yeah, you would max out your body. Like, I would reset your bus.
Is this because it gets more
it's
damaged out?
Yeah, it's all about the performance. That's it. All performance.
Just the performance?
Yeah, the exterior is the same. Body's a little bit different. People have talked about, I know Noah had a question for me earlier, actually. He's talking about the school bus engine and not the performance, but the body. The body on the bus. Check that one out. That's the RV. There we go. And then we got construction cost reduction. Like, that's okay, but it's not worth. It's not. I'm telling you.
So research is better. So research you want. Okay.
Yeah. And well, it's not even so much that. It's the performance. It's the damage dealt. That is one of the strongest attributes in the game. Damage dealt bonus. It's very highly sought out for. Anything that adds that is going to be extremely valuable in the game. So maxing.
Is there any events that you would save upgrading your bus for?
No.
Like Strongest Survivor or anything, or nothing?
Nothing. It's nothing.
It just always.
They just don't exist. Your carriage doesn't exist. Your bus doesn't exist. Nothing exists besides the RV until you get the vintage truck, which is a free-to-play one. You can draw it from tokens or just purchase it for 10K scrap tokens. You will be able to get that vintage truck at some point, and it does outperform the RV only when you can max out your exterior at 60 and max out the performance at 60. Otherwise, we found in our experience, viewer discretion is advised, please. RVs with the damage dealt is going to outperform the vintage truck for quite some time. So it's going to be a heavy investment to get that. But I would reset your bus and just max out the body, max out your exterior, and then I would spend all I would spend all of your vehicle tokens on performance, because steel is the most expensive and the rarest material. So if there's any way to get it, we do it that way, right? That's how it makes sense.
Yeah. I get you. Okay. Anything else?
What star level missions and then the story missions is the last thing I have on the list here for you.
Here we go. So another beautiful thing, and I'm trying. It's a fun time. I don't know where I should be on Settlement Siege. I'm on day 45. Should I be at 50 already?
Oh, you're exactly where I'm at. 46. So we can get you a little bit further. Let's go ahead and back out into your town hall, because I know wave 46 intimately. If scroll out of your town just a little bit, if you can get a bigger scope. There you go. So the zombies are actually going to come from that northwest corner. And what I have done, and has got me down to about 5 zombies left, is you kind of min-max. You have to cater for each wave, because we're really pushing our limits right now. Getting to 46, like once you beat 46, you'll probably beat 47. So the sooner you can beat 46, the better. But a recommendation of mine is to barricade all of your big, strong buildings on that northwestern side of your town hall, because you'll notice on wave 46 Settlement Siege, all those zombies start pouring in firstly from the top left-hand side. So you want to buy yourself as much time as humanly possible, and you want to set out your Settlement Siege heroes in a certain way. And there are better Settlement Siege heroes. So if you'd like to go to your Settlement Siege real quick, I can kind of give you a little rundown of like the survivors you should or I recommend to use.
So just, you want to see my survivors, or just go click? Click on one.
Go into battles. We'll back out of this and then click battles. It's a third tab down on the right. There we go. And then Settlement Siege, day 46. And then, so let's see. You got Militia Rick. Oops. Militia Rick is
No, you good.
good. Holly is terrible. Rosita is good. Let's see. You don't really have much here to work with. That's okay. Rick, you have to have Rick. Put Rick on there. Rick is the strongest. He has duty bound, and it gives you I think it's
Okay. The one that
35%
you put,
attack buff. Yeah.
when you put it on everybody, and then
Everything else looks good. I would fire that team. That's a winning team right there.
and I just need to kind of build them up a little bit.
Yeah, so you want to shoot like, think of like you would do like a firing line. So you try to get out all your ranged first. There's two strategies you can do. You can kind of build up your stamina and let the zombies get really close, and then but don't cap out on 10 stamina when you're in the settlement siege itself.
These dudes be shooting back on day 46.
Yeah, so that's why you let your stamina pool. Like, so you go to like 10 stamina, and then right at the last second, you drop down your tank, your Morgan.
That way he's absorbing it, and then you have the damage being dealt on the sides.
Exactly. And then the sooner that you can get out a couple more ranged survivors and then get Rick out and then buff them all with Rick, you're going to win. But it's going to take a couple tries for you to get a feeling for it. We can cover some of that more later. I can actually make a video on beating and defeating Wave 46 because a lot of people are kind of stuck there. And since I was, and I know I can beat it right now, I will make a little video for that as well. But is there anything that you else have for me? Do you want to shout out any of your friends or family, Tru3 Savage, or anything?
No, man, I'm just out here trying to beat people up.
That's good, man. It's so funny seeing that your perspective from 666. Like, I had such a good, I had a great time, man. Like, I'm gonna have fun.
Well, it seems like y'all season 1 was way more climactic, and so
it's still going, man. They just bought 5 Ezekiels on us.
Like, that's the thing. Like, I want to meet these guys, and I just want to see where that money's coming from, because these guys, man, whew.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. It's expensive. I think I looked it up. It was like, what, 13K you have to spend for Ezekiel fully max?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's just, man, that's tough. But I'm here for it. I'm here for the long haul. I feel like my account's pretty good for the amount of money that I spent. I feel like I got lucky with the equipment. And so
we'll probably have the first clan that has 100 Ezekiels in the Walking Dead survivors. It might not be soon, but it will happen. I think if there's a will, there's a way. So that's how we roll here.
That's how. Hey, 5 years, man. That's a long time. So no, I'm good, man. Thank you so much for all the information, all the help, and I'm excited.
All right, Tru3 Savage from our Discord community, coming at us with an awesome morning. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and enjoyed this watch. If you guys have any questions, comments, or feedback, hit us up in the comment section below. Check out the descriptions and join the BrobbenTV Discord community today. Have a nice day, guys. Peace.